Come on in. Sit a spell. I tell you about this engine right here. If you all remember, I have to put an end on this right here, a clip, to go from yonder to yonder to yonder. But if you remember, I started this engine over here on East Coast, Arkansas. And I've had this storage for a while, you know. So it's come time to run the engine. Painted it the other day and all. So that's a 30 weight. Yeah, we'll fill that up. And David up there in, that come from Wheatfield right there. Thank you, man. Oh, yeah. When I made that right there, there's a little undercut in that for that packing right there. That was that's the reason I left that undercut there. It may be another video. I'm not sure. Oh yeah. Well, we'll start this engine up right here if y'all want to. It's completely finished. There ain't nothing else for me to do to it. So, little by little, we'll get a close-up to see what's taking place here and the modifications made. And then I'll explain it to you as we go. I welded up them holes in that block right there where that gas tank used to be. And where the breather was at on the rear, I welded that up, filled them up, smoothed them in. Removed the gas tank. Made a hit-and-miss engine out of it. Built this thing right here. That's a flat plate and a fitting, and another fitting in there, and the spark plug I'm gonna put in there. Supposedly, this engine's supposed to run. Ain't never been started yet, you know, first time. So, you know, if your adjustments are done correctly, and your measurements and everything's right, your spring pressure, everything's greased up. You know what I mean? Now, you'll note, this being the Type M International. This was not a McCormick Deering. Had an igniter in it. Oh, the spark plug. It's a Bosch Super. It's one of the big long reaches right there. And the reason I choose that one is I had a box of them over where I picked up at a yard sale for nothing. That's a gas tank right down there. Explanation to come later. But I changed it from a, you'll take note as we go along. I changed it from igniter to a spark plug for the ignition. I changed it from a exhaust coming out the bottom to the exhaust coming out the top. Built a mixer, carburetor, shop built, check valve assembly. I'm going to run it on this. I'm going to run it on that white gas right there. That's that camp fuel right there. It's a low octane. Makes your engine run just as smooth. Yeah. And that way you can see what you're doing too. I'm going to have to block that up right there and secure it a little bit before we start it up. I need to get that done right now. I'll get a 2x4 and put under there. Well, I'll have to get something for the back there. Just doing that to secure it for startup purposes. It don't need to be rotating. But yeah, we're going to have some ignition. It's right here. It's one of them. That's one of them T-model car coil packs. There's four of them coils, and one of them runs each cylinder on that car. But I'd like to be over there where we can see what we're doing. You know, yeah, probably all right. And you can run off of either one of them you want to. We'll try some down here on this end, being it's convenient. Spark plug goes down there. Comes around up to there. The ignition, the contacts, it's a triple play. It's a finger system. When it comes around, it touches. Well, we'll get a close up on it. It touches, but there's two fingers. One of them is the hot one. Okay, it touches the little pin on the cam, makes contact. Sometimes that's not a good way to ignite engines through that camshaft. If you've got grease correctly done, you've got no spark. So this one, I put a little lever underneath the bottom of it, so it makes that contact, and then it contacts another ground on the bottom, so it's a positive ignition system. It works quite well. And I cut that camshaft off, and I moved that cam lobe inwards quite a bit. Cut that mag mount off and set all that in close. So it should work. And the springs, the way I set these engines, all of mine, to run slow is when I put them springs on there, I only set them to the amount of tensions that's required to hold the spring onto the mechanism. No more. But yeah, we'll just go ahead and start her up. Surely it'll start. And not to confuse you none, this one wire goes to going in that way. Okay, now we've got one wire into place. We got the spark plug wired up, and now we need a ground in order to make the whole circuit. And from the ground, you come over here to the bottom terminal on this bracket assembly. Now the next cable you put is from the positive post on your, we're only using this coil. So, see, we've made a full circuit there now. The engine's ready to run. Like that. Okay, you see, you've been watching up to now. I ain't never cranked this engine. You know, I ain't never rotated it and nothing. With the shortness of this pickup tube, it has one there. That's a John Deere type check valve. I'm gonna take this back loose to verify that we're not trying to start the engine. We're not trying to start it just yet. But as short as that pipe is, I don't think it'll take about one turn. I just filled that up just off camera there. That's what that is. So, and the engine's going to run in reverse. It's going to run backwards too. Take all that in consideration. So, you know, I'm going to let a little oil drip down in there on that piston. See, it's dripping in there. Okay. You can't hardly get too much oil on these engines right here. I should be squirting some oil on that engine right now. These engines are total loss. These old engines right here. You know, don't even try to start the thing up. If you don't have oil running on the floor, if at some point I don't have oil on my floor here, I've not put enough oil on this engine. It's what they are. That's what they are, hit and miss. They make a lot of noise, they're heavy, they slang oil everywhere. If it don't do that, you know, what's the point in having it? So, oil it liberally, I'm saying, is what I'm talking about. You can get too much oil inside the cylinder now. Don't get me wrong, but out here on this moving parts right here, you can't get too much oil on this stuff. It's total loss, oil system. That's what they call it. So don't be afraid to squirt some oil up in there. You know, from a long distance if you have to. Yeah, see, that needed to be oiled right there. All that needs to be oiled to the point of it drips. It should drip onto something. Right there's a drip now. That's good. For real. This oiling is not to be took lightly, especially on governor stuff. You will make. And I did oil this liberally when I put it together, so. And I don't want, right in there is one place I probably don't want too much oil, is this thing right here. You want that to be kind of clean, if you know what I mean. But everything's adjusted. When that flies out there, that little thing goes in there and catches behind that other little thing. For ventilation on this crankcase, when I welded all them holes up there and took that breather out, I drilled some two holes in the bottom of that crankcase and threaded them and put two short lengths of pipe on there, which a hose will be attached to with a catch bucket for the total loss oil system. This engine is going to be installed in that circus wagon right there. Just start her up. Oh yeah, there's a drop of oil in the floor. We doing good now. All right. So, yeah. And I've got grease in the greaser, and I did what, you know, when I was greasing them all, I made sure that there was grease coming out the other end, so all of them are well greased. This engine, you can't grease it with this crankshaft greaser when it's running. You have to grease it when it's not running with this. So It's a left-hand thread there. Now let's start her up. Before we try to start it, I need to make sure that I have, and that's another thing. You know when you work on an engine, you should be able to start that engine right there without choking it. You know what I mean? A good engine should. You really don't need to choke a good engine when it's a running. I'm just saying. You can trick one down with the choke. You can modify it with that, but it's not a good principle. And also, this with that closed cover right there. See, if I turn this flywheel to choke that engine, expecting it to run, it cannot run because it's not getting any air in there. That's the reason most choke plates has a hole in the center right there, so they'll start and run with a choke. This one, I elected not to put that hole in there because I don't want a bug to go in it. Dirt dauber. But I do want to choke the engine. So, and you know, I don't know where to open up this to. Well, actually, I do. I know what size venturi this has in it. This has a very small venturi inside this mixer. But imagining where that has a clock face. So if I open it 15 minutes, that's a quarter of a turn. It felt kind of tight, so I think it might need a little more. Okay, in order to get that fuel up there in the most expeditious way, I'm going to poke my finger in there because I want to fill some some camp fuel. I'm going to turn the flywheel while I choke it with my finger to verify I got fuel. So you come around on compression, it is on compression. So it immediately should, for that length of pipe, when that piston sucks in there, it should suck fuel into that with that's about a half turn. Might be too much. So to turn this, oh yeah, I heard it. Okay, see, I got some fuel there. The engine should start when I turn the flywheel one more time. So we'll hook this back up, or hook it up. Everything's hooked up. First time that engine ever ran.